So now, just because you have a diagnostic tool and that you can scan your Peugeot vehicle or any of the PSA vehicle, does not mean you work with whatever fault or result you get from the scanning. Now, this is a mistake most people make when it comes to V6 Peugeot cars or V6 Lions. Talking about Citroen. Yeah, I know Citroen C5 and C6 have this V6 ES9J4S and the ES9A engines. Now, what I mean is, you're supposed to first of all understand the vehicle system, because it's when you understand the vehicle system that you can now interpret the fault code. Yes, you might scan an EW12J4 engine and it tells you the spark plug, or not really the spark plug, that the ignition coil is faulty, and yes, when you replace it, it goes away. But just because you also scan V6 Lion and it tells you ignition coil is faulty, you go ahead to replace it because you did it on the EW10J4 and it solved the problem. If you do the same on the V6, you are wasting your money. You may join the group that always complain that V6 are too problematic. So this video is just to tell you what you shouldn't do if you drive a Peugeot 406, 607, 807, Citroen C5, C6, as long as you have ES9J4S and the ES9A V6 engines, the petrol V6 engines, and these vehicles I mentioned, or the ones I probably forget to mention, as long as I have all these engines in them, do not interpret the diagnostic fault or the scan result you found after the diagnosis. Don't interpret it literally just because of what is written there. When you understand how the V6 works, then you can do your interpretation. Otherwise, you'll just be wasting your money. I'm not going to discourage you from buying your own scan tool to do. In fact, that's even the best way. It will help you. In fact, it's also going to help you to understand your vehicle system. So small by small, then you get to know. So yeah, when you scan, seek for advice from someone that understands the system to explain to you. At least you get that knowledge, and next time it comes up, you don't need that person's advice because you already know that. But if you go in because this is how it's supposed to be, like the coil is supposed to be removed because the screen is showing that the coil is bad, don't do it. So I'm going into the engine bay now to start showing you what you should not do. Specifically, ignition coil for these two V6 engines I mentioned. I know I've done this video like 2 times before now. I've explained this issue, but I just want to do it again because it keeps coming up. People keep sending messages. They've been replacing the coils and the rest and changing spark plug. Yeah, the misfiring issue keeps coming up. Like I said, misfire issue is one of the things you get to live with when you buy any of these Lions with this V6 engine, specifically in Nigeria or some other countries that their fuel is not the fuel they use in their country is not the recommended one for that engine. So you're always going to be having that misfiring issue because of the carbon deposit, and then the injectors. The injectors and the rest. V6 injectors, they are kind of a little bit sensitive, so they are not as porous as that of the EW engine. So any small distance, they tend to partially get closed. However, I'm going to show you how to deal with a particular fault that most people don't know how to solve, and that is when you scan a V6 Lion and it shows you ignition for coil, blah blah blah, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, cylinder 5, whatever, faulty. You clear it again, scan it again, it keeps telling you cylinder 1 or cylinder 2 or cylinder 3, ignition coil faulty. Please don't go and change that coil. there are things you need to do first before you know truly if that coil is faulty. I'm going to show you now. Okay, so alright, so here we are. So these are ES9J engine, ES9J4S engine, as you can see here. So these are the ignition coils, cylinder 1, 2, 3. Always remember, for V6 engine in Peugeot cars, the cylinders are numbered from the gearbox. So this is bank 1, this is bank 2. So this is 1, 2, 3. Then the cylinders here, 4, 5, 6. Please don't go and start to count it back one, because that's what most people do. They will just mess up the counting and then change what is not even the faulty one. So 1, 2, 3. So let's assume you scan the vehicle and it's telling you that cylinder 1 ignition coil is bad, cylinder 2 or cylinder 3 or cylinder 4, whichever one. If it tells you that the ignition coil is bad, or it may tell you permanent fault, ignition misfire cylinder 1, or ignition coil faulty, permanent faults. Okay, let's just start with this, right? Let's assume it says only this one is bad. What you do is you remove this ignition coil, remove the spark plug, then come to this cylinder or come to this one, any of these two. Remove, keep the ignition coil of this cylinder 1 and the spark plug separate somewhere. Then remove this ignition coil here, remove the spark plug here, put the two here. Just remove these two, put it here. Then you come back to the previous ones that were there here on the cylinder 1, the coil and the spark plug. Then what you do is you put maybe the spark plug here. Then take the coil, put that coil you remove from this one, put this one here, then take this coil and put it here. Let me repeat it again. If it says this coil, or let me try start from, okay, I'll still do it here, so you understand what I mean. If you say the cylinder 1 ignition coil is faulty, or cylinder 1 misfire, permanent fault, take this coil out, remove the spark plug, keep it aside. Then remove the spark plug and the coil of this cylinder. Since he didn't mention that this one is bad, remove these two, transfer the two to this particular cylinder, which is the cylinder 1. Then you take the coil or the spark plug. Let's just start with the spark plug. Take the spark plug of this, you remove from cylinder 1, put it here on the cylinder 2. Then you take this cylinder 3 coil, put it here on the cylinder 2. Then you take the coil you remove from the cylinder 1 and put it here. Then you start the car. Probably drive the car around a day or two, depending. As long as the misfire did not come back. Whenever the misfire comes back again, scan the car second time. Now see which of them shows you the fault. If it comes back here and tells you the cylinder 1 is still misfiring, or cylinder coil is still bad, what it means is the problem has nothing to do with the coil, because remember, the spark plug and the coil were removed from here. So if the fault repeats here, then it means it has nothing to do with the spark plug or the coil. The problem could be from probably the connection, or I don't know. It has nothing to do with it. Then you can now diagnose to know why. So most times it's usually the carbon deposit that will cause that, or even the fuel injector. Yeah, the fuel injector, if it's partially blocked, yeah, it can cause that misfire, and then it will look as if the ECU will report as if this is the fault. So you focus on this cylinder and deal with it. Now if you scan it and it tells you this time around that the fault is no longer from here but from here, cylinder 2, What that means is the plug, remember, it's only the plug we remove from this one that we put here. It means the plug is bad. That was even what was causing the misfire on the cylinder 1. Remember, we remove this plug, the old plug from cylinder 1 and put here. So that's why the misfire happened here in the first time. So what you need to do is to remove this, the plug, put another plug. Then if it's from cylinder 3, if you show you that kind of fault, misfire, ignition coil bad, what it means is, remember, it was the coil we removed from cylinder 1 that we put here, while the spark plug still remain. We didn't remove the spark plug on this cylinder 3. So what it means is, truly, the ignition coil is bad, while the spark plug we remove from this cylinder 1 is still here. Means that spark plug is good because it didn't affect the ignition coil that was transferred from here to here. But the ignition coil that we remove from 1 to 3, we started showing the same fault on cylinder 3. So you deal with the ignition. So this is how you do the interpretation. It's not really the, yeah, well, call it interview, but it's still part of the diagnosis, because the diagnosis, you have not stopped after scanning. But most people, they think once they finish scanning the car, whatever they see on the scan, on the screen of the scan tool, that is the result, the final result. No, you still have to do further diagnosis with this method, what I just did here, as long as VCC is concerned. Same thing, if it's reporting one of the cylinders here, this 3 here, like this is 4, 5, 6, so if it's reporting that maybe the cylinder 4 or 5, the coils are faulty. So what you did, instead of doing those things here, just bring out which of only the coil that is bad and the spark plug that I reported, remove it, bring it here, then take this one, the complete one that is still okay here, take it from here, the coil and ignition, take it to that place. So I don't need to remove this cylinder next time you want to do it. Take it there, then do the swap here. Maybe you put the coil here from that cylinder that I reported back, then put the spark plug here. Just interchange it, and then from there you find the result. So now you know how to diagnose Peugeot cars, right? So you don't have to keep wasting your money, because once I've observed that most people, they will just go and start changing the coil, buying brand new coil or used coils and start changing them, only for them to find out that the issue is still there. Or at the end of the day, you realize that it's not even the spark plug. That was what most people were doing at that time, when the car were still new. When they bought 406, then they were complaining the coils are not reliable, not knowing that it has nothing to do with the coil. Because when you put new coil, yeah, it will still work. Once you remove it and put it, will work. But if the problem is from the spark plug, after a while, that misfire will come back. Or if the problem is from deposit, all those carbon deposit in the cylinders or on the valves, it will still come back. So you now look like, oh, the ignition coils are not reliable, they're always failing. While on EW engine, once it tells you that your ignition coil is bad, you don't even need to worry yourself, the coil is bad. So that's the thing, you need to understand the vehicle first, the system, before you now do the interpretation of whatever fault you find there. So don't just go ahead and do the same thing, because other vehicles or other engines, once anything it shows there and you replace it, then the fault will go away. That it will be the same on another system. Every injection system behaves differently when it comes to detecting the issues. That's where I'm going. I'm not saying there are no similarities, or some general things that concerns all of them. But when it comes to like some peculiar issues, you have to diagnose them differently. But then you still need to understand how that system works, which will now help you to know how to continue to further the diagnosis. My point is, stop relying only on what the scan result shows you. That scan report or scan result is most times just to narrow it down. Well, since it says cylinder 3 is misfiring, or even if it says 2 cylinders are misfiring, what it means is, okay, you now know that you need to now focus on those 2 cylinders. Before you start buying any parts, first of all, see what, is there any way you can do some tests to know truly if those things are faulty, or if there's something that is causing them to misbehave. Which could be the wire, maybe there's a breach on the wire, or the discommunication between the engine ECU and the wire, or the fuse box and that sensor. So all those things are the things you need to now do before you now decide, okay, to start changing parts. I hope this helps, especially people who are scared of VCs, but really want to buy one. Now you can do this thing yourself, or at least instruct your mechanic or whoever that will virtually be the one to be doing the repairs or diagnose for you what to do. This is mainly the main reason mechanics are scared of VCs. This is the main reason why they all run away from VCs, because they don't know how to actually pinpoint what usually causes all this misfire on VCs. And the reason is our fuel. As far as I'm concerned, that's the reason. If you buy a Crane, Tokumbo, Peugeot, or Lion with a V6 engine, it won't give you all those issues for a very long time. But once those carbon deposits becomes too much, it comes up and it just be there. So I did a video recently about how I'm trying to find solution, so I don't need to be taking your car to mechanics all the time to remove and service your plugs, or even do all these things. Probably we take care of all this misfire. So I've talked about the use of LACQUA thinner with some fuel to clean up all those carbon and keep your injectors clean so I won't have all those partial clog, for them to spray very well. So I'm still working on that, still going to the town to see if I can find the LACQUA thinner. Like I told you guys, the last time I did it once, though on a different, I did it on my 505 V6, and it worked. Even though my intention was just to test to know if it would harm any system, only for me to know that it actually cleaned the system that I didn't even know was dirty. So it works. So I'll keep until I find, even though the one I used was not even LACQUA thinner, but this time I want to find that LACQUA thinner, because I did a study on it recently. I realized that the LACQUA thinner cleans better. It's much better than the paint thinner in terms of cleaning or removing stubborn, dirt or oil, those things inside the carbon, inside the engine or combustion chamber. I think that was why this guy recommended this Scotty Kima. So I'll try and do my best. I'm still going around. All the ones I've been seeing so far are just the normal painting here in Nigeria. Once I find it, I'll test it and confirm to you guys the result. So we'll see how it goes. But at least you know how to fix your Peugeot car V6 engine. Don't waste your money buying cars that are not bad. Alright guys.